What's up, guys? So I'm here right now with YB or Wanbin, whatever you prefer, whatever he prefers. He's one of my best students in this whole Amazon wholesale business model. Absolutely crushing it, and I really wanted to just hop on a call with him just to ask like what things he's doing, that's making him like maybe more successful than my other students? Is it like, oh, is YB like putting more work or whatever? Like, what are the factors that are going on? So YB, introduce yourself and yeah.
Yeah, for sure. My name's Bin. I started doing this back in late August. So right now my store is doing 20% or $20,000 net profit. It's been scaling pretty well, but yeah, I started back in August, like late August. That's when I first started my LLC. I didn't get my first sales until I remember it was late September, and I remember like it was a very bad purchase, and I gave the product to Gav, and he's like, "Yeah, don't buy this." And I ran the numbers again, and I'm like, what is he talking about? Like 3% is still better than 0%. It was in my mind, and I didn't really know like, oh, there's like this fee, there's the fucking labeling fee, dude, and then the bag was 80 cents, and that just completely ate to my margins. And I'm like, well, I guess every item that I sold, I was losing like 30 cents, like a quarter. But like I was like generating sales, the cash flow was flowing. And that was like when I first started out, I didn't really have much money, right? I was This business was completely ran on credit card that I have, which is like $8,000 credit limit. And that was pretty much that was running my business was completely ran on credit at the point. And so like all the mistakes that I made were very like non-impact. And so I learned a lot of lessons playing small and being small. And uh and then from there, like I remember like for this month's 20K profit, the month before 10K profit. So like every month it's been around 50% growth. For except except January to from December to January, like from Q4 to Q1, that was a pretty big uh slide off, but I still grew around 30%.
Honestly, like from August to now, that's how many months? Like 5 months? Five
5 months,
months?
yeah,
5 months? Yeah,
5 months.
like 5 months. Like how much were you doing like your first month?
Let me pull up. I think it was like my very first month I was doing 4,000.
4,000
Yes.
sales or net profit?
There's no profit in the first
So you're making 4K sales first month.
4K first month, and then second month was 11K,
Okay, so
and then
11K, how much was that? How much of that was profits?
less than 10%,
Less than 10%. So
right?
let's say like 1K profit. And then your third month,
Third month was 28K.
28K. 28K like sales, and how much of that was profit?
That was like it was like 35%. The margin was 35%.
Okay. So damn. Okay, that's insane. I mean, do you like people don't realize that like this business like takes time to build. Would you agree? Like,
It takes time to build, and like one thing I had to kind of like figure out is it's not just about the business model. It's like the business model can get you six figures, right? Because like this is a gold mine business model relative to uh the other like ventures out there. Like a hedge fund manager will sell his kidneys for 20% ROI, like consistently, right? In real estate, the percentage is probably like 10-15%. And like for this business model, like easy, I'm getting 55% ROI. Like, and that's month to month, right? And that's insane. And like the returns that you're getting. And so like the scale is pretty insane. I don't know at which point where the ROI is going to start dropping off, but like I know that there at some point the ROI is going to start dropping off. But the room to grow is just insane.
yeah, it's like the compounding effect. Like first month, like you didn't like make anything because of like, mistakes or whatever. And also you're like just building, like the business because a lot of this business is just relationships. And once you have relationships, then you need money, like capital, right? And like those are the two main components of this entire business model, right? And then like second month you did it like better, and then third month you just exploded like compared to like the previous 2 months, and then fourth month you did even better, and then last month you or like this or like in January you
No,
just like
we're in the 5th month right now.
yeah I mean
I'm in
yeah
the fifth
like
month.
yeah I mean you're
Yeah.
like you're just absolutely like like crushing it now compared to what you were doing comparatively speaking like the first or second month, right? So it's
Yeah.
like it's like one of those business models that like it compounds so fast over time, but you don't realize it. Like when you first start, you're like, oh shit, like I'm making like whatever. I'm only making like $1,000 or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's literally it's like a light switch. It's night and day. I remember I was like I had two VAs on at the time, and like I was doing the math in my head, like okay, if I just bring on two VAs and like I just go drive for Uber for like a night, I'll like make everything back, right? And that was what I was doing. And then at some point, I was still doing InScar. I was still doing like Uber to like as like a day job. Like I'll make my 4 hour calls, and then I'll just go like drive, and like that's like how I make rent at the time. And then at some point, I was like doing this Instacart, and I like opened up my Amazon sellers app, and then the numbers started, the sales started coming in, and I'm like, wait, I'm literally making 6 figures, right? And I was doing like fucking Instacart, and I literally like canceled my batch and I went home, and I'm like I reached a certain point where like the week before I was making like I forgot, it was like I think it was like 6,000 profit, but I didn't have the cash flow to keep funding, so I had to reinvest everything. All my I had to reinvest all the profits, and I had to go on to Uber and do all that shit. And then the next week I opened up my phone, and I think I made like $1,000 that day. And
Damn.
that was like that was 200 profit. And I was like, okay, like it's not worth it to me anymore. I had to like move on and just take on more debt, like find ways to just raise more capital. So I went to the Discover app, and then I requested a limit increase, told them that I'm making 80K a year, and then they gave me another like 4K credit limit, right? And I bought another 4K in inventory, and
Nice.
it just keeps on building and building and building.
That's awesome. Yeah, like you see, like I didn't even like tell you to do that, right? Like, like I didn't tell you like, hey, YB, you should like call up your credit card company and like tell them you're
Oh
making
fuck.
80K a year so you get a higher credit limit so you can buy more inventory. Like I didn't tell you to do that, right? You went out and like did it yourself. Like I would say like you're probably one of my most resourceful students. And but not only that, like you take action. Like you actually do shit. Like I'm sure you've been working your fucking ass off, the past, 5 months, right? Like do you think that that's the reason why you're doing better than like almost everybody else that's in the group? Or like what do you think, you know, is making your results so much better, numbers wise than everybody else?
Uh, so I came from a finance background, and I came from a sales background. Like I don't know if I told you this, but the job that I did before this was I was an account manager, and for a healthcare temporary staffing agency. And literally all I did is I call these hospitals, and I'm trying to talk to these surgeons, these medical directors. They're in the middle of fucking surgery, or they're doing administrative work, and you're getting them on the phone to like try to talk to them, right? Imagine like a surgeon having fucking like surgery, right? Taking a piss from like surgery, and like and the fucking nurse is like, hey, we got this blah blah on the phone for you. And the guy gets on the phone. They're like, hello, and then you're like, hey, it's Jan Ben from blah blah, and like you go into your fucking spiel, right? That's the background I came from. And so think about that compared to calling suppliers, and you're like, hey man, I just want to sign up for a wholesale account. Like imagine like the difference between those two, right? And I did that for a whole year. Just like that. Imagine like from like boiler room to calling suppliers. Like I'm like, dude, like just give me the fucking cold calls every day. Cause like I had like back in that job, I was making like our quotas were minimum 80 dials a day. When I switched over to calling these suppliers, I was making at least 100 dials a day, minimum. From the time I wake up, from like like I don't set an alarm clock, so like around 8, Like when I first started, like in August, like daylight savings, it was like when I woke up at 7, let's say it's 10 at the East Coast. And so I have 10 to 4 is 6 hours to call the East Coast. I literally broke my day up. I'll call the East Coast first, and then I call uh, the West Coast. So like these are the things that you have to be resourceful at, which is like the tactical part. And just like from 7 to 5 every single day, no breaks. I was doing the intermittent fasting, so it doesn't really count, right? $100 minimum. Like some days, $130, $150. I was getting so many accounts set up, but in the beginning, I was running into a lot of issues, like fucking like finding opportunities, finding the right, uh, yeah, just finding opportunities, and I was running into a lot of mistakes, like not not evaluating not evaluating the value of an account, and that's something that I'm aggressively screening out right now. Is like I'll have like a distributor that that I worked with back in November. Um, Maybe I'll buy like $4,000 or $5,000 worth of inventory from them. Like right now, this is like back then, that's my biggest distributor. So I'll talk to this lady for I'll fucking like I'll take her out on a date. This old lady on a date if I have to. And I'm talking to her for like 2 3 hours like every week, right? And like right now, like this distributor, they're like maybe like 5% of my sales, 10% of my sales at this point. So like this is like one thing I had to aggressively cut out time or cut out everything that doesn't give me like a specific ROI. And that's like one of the so that's just like one of the mistakes that I or one of the lessons that I learned. And which is like time management. Once you start scaling aggressively, like you're gonna have tasks, you're gonna have endless tasks to do. Like there's like every day I wake up, I can just think on top of my head, there's 20 tasks I can do that gives me like each like 1% that will improve my company by 1%. But it's just not like your time is worth so much more. You want to minimize the amount of decisions you make per day, and so you can make higher quality ones. Did I tell you about dude? Did I tell you about the fucking when I didn't know how to make my when I didn't know how to make a shipping label? And did I tell you about the guy? I did, right? I
Wait,
don't remember.
repeat the story.
Okay, so this is flipping the chess piece over, and I'll explain this. Like I think this is the mistake that a lot of people make, and this came up when it was like very early. I didn't know how to generate a shipping label, and so I went on Google and I Googled how to do Amazon FBA or like the packing slip. And this guy on his video, he explained, okay, this is how you pack your shipment. And he's like, I have my printer right here, I have my tape right here, and I have my where the fuck my fucking stamp right here, and I save my boxes. These are the fucking boxes I save. And then he's like, oh, you have to be very efficient in whatever the fuck you do. And he's like, okay, every time like an order gets shipped or every time I sell something, I get a notification, and then this is my workflow. I do this. I get the box and I tape the thing and I do this. And then you have to use these box to save the money. You have to like use this printer. It saves money. It's more efficient. And I'm like at that point I was making like $20 a day in sales. I wasn't selling anything, but I was like, dude, you're fucking retarded, dude. Like like this guy found it like a super efficient way to be retarded.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
no,
was like, dude, you're fucking retarded.
yeah, that's really funny. Yeah, it's so funny how like people will just like make these elaborate ways to do the wrong thing. It's like, and,
Yeah,
and like going back to your point, like yeah, like spending like you want to spend your time on those activities that will produce the highest ROI on your time, right? Like it's like the whole like 80-20 principle, like Pareto principle, right? It's like you
right.
want to spend like your time on those specific tasks, especially since you're the CEO, like you're the business owner, right? You don't want to be working like I always talk about this concept, but you always want to be working on the business and not in the business, right? Like once you already know how to do everything, you don't need to do it anymore. You know, like you just outsource everything if you can, right? Like You outsource legit everything. Like if it's not worth, like say your time, I don't know like how much you value your time might be, right? But say your time is worth whatever. Say you value your time at $100 an hour on the low end or whatever, right? Okay, you value your time at $100 an hour. Okay, if I have someone else do this for me, is it gonna cost me less than $100 an hour, right? If it's
Right.
yes, then you outsource it. It's like even if it costs 95, you outsource it. Yeah, it's probably not gonna cost you $95 an hour. Like I value my time personally at like like $5,000 an hour, right? Like if it costs me less than $5,000 an hour, I'm gonna outsource it, right? Like so like my mind is only spent doing, $5,000 hour tasks, right? Like
Right.
I might be building like 3 teams, right? Like that's something that like you know like that nobody else can do really besides me. You only want to spend your time on like those activities that will produce the highest ROI, and that's what it sounds like you've done, right? Um, like things like VAs, right? Like if people don't know, VAs are virtual assistants, right? Like there's people that in like the Philippines or in Bangladesh or whatever who will legit do your work for like dollars per hour, like like $3 an hour, right? $4 an hour, right? Like, is your time worth more than $4 an hour? Like, I hope so, right? Like, say you hire like, you know, say you hire like 2 VAs, right? And they both work for 8 hours a day for you. That's 16 hours, right? You pay them, $3 an hour. That's like not even like $50. Like, are you gonna work 16 hours at your fucking desk doing something that you can pay someone like less than $50 to do? Like, it's just fucking retarded. Like,
It's fucking retarded. Yeah.
like
Like
but if
I was
like
fucking.
this is like yeah, but like this is a concept that people don't grasp. People are like, oh, I'm gonna save that $50. I'm gonna
Yeah,
save
dude.
dollars.
I was fucking Ubering so I can like pay for these 2 VAs because I know their output. Like like looking back, like that's pretty fucking retarded too. Because I could have literally just like spent my time and dressed up and went to a bank and like that probably would have been a better like my time would have been spent better because like that's what did I tell you I got the 30,000 loan. I literally just went up to the fucking bank and I had to like get the fucking loan.
I don't know how you
And
did
how
that,
long did that
honestly.
send me?
Yeah, I don't know how you did that. How did you get a loan? Actually go through that process. Yeah.
How to get a loan?
Yeah.
So apparently with the COVID, I forgot there was this fucking interview. So, some guy gave an interview and he's like, "Oh yeah, you just need to like walk up to the fucking bank and like get it from the fucking manager." And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking do that too." And so I did that. It got like dressed up. I haven't dressed up in like half a year at this point, and like a little fucking button down and a suit. Went into the bank and they're like, "Oh, you can't. We're not gonna let you set an appointment because of the fucking COVID." And I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh yeah, that's actually pretty legit. And I was like, well, like I was just wondering, like, I need to speak to the branch manager. And then they're like, yeah, he's not available, blah 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 blah. And then I had to find a way to talk to the branch manager, and that's the guy who pretty much oversees the entire operations. In the end, what I did was I signed a personal guarantee. I put my car up, which is and then they valued it at like 12,000, and then that was the collateral, and then they gave me another cash of it's 12 minus 30 is what is
18.
that 28
18.
18
18K.
18,000
18K.
18,000 $18,000, and I use all of that, and that's why my cash like literally or my sales is gonna explode in the next week or two. Everything's being shipped in. I finally found. It took me like a month to find the $40,000 of opportunities for January.
Damn. That's crazy.
And I got the charge card, and then in addition to that, it's the 2 credit cards I've been using to fund my Amex, which is the new card, and then Discover. I've been like steadily like I kept calling them and calling them to raise my credit limits. And so right now my buying power, if I combine pretty much like all my buying power, like I can pretty much buy like $100,000 of inventory
Jesus.
in
Nice.
February.
Like, and how
So
much
like
do you have?
that's
And you had 8K to start with.
not even 8K. I had, dude, I was broke. What I like my 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 15,000 was my last. No, I didn't even have 15,000 to send you, or I did. It was either rent or 15,000 or 1,500 to send you, and I sent it to you, and I was like, oh, how do I pay rent? And so I had to Instacart that entire weekend.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying?
Damn,
Or I
that's
had
insane.
like 600 in the bank.
Okay. Damn. So you went like all in. Like you legit went all in.
I legit went all in.
Like you see like that's like a trait that I always see in people that like ends up like making it or like doing well in like a short period of time. Like they are willing like to put everything on the line, and there's no like plan B. Like I'm sure there was like plan B for you. Like you're like,
There's no plan B.
like I'm
There's
sure
no
that
plan B.
when you like you pay for the mentorship and then you start doing Instacart, you want like, oh I'm gonna just chill now. I'm gonna just I'm gonna I'm gonna just like go back to my apartment. I'm gonna whip up
Oh my God.
whip
Yeah,
up some TV shows and just start binge watching 3 TV shows. Like I'm sure that wasn't your thought process. Like I bet like as soon as like you committed to that, you're like, oh fuck, like I have to make it or I'm gonna be like legit out on the street.
yeah, dude. I was like pulling in. I remember I walked in. I walked in. I was doing Instacart. I walked into a Fry's and I was like crunching the numbers in my head. I was pulling in 6 figures. Like if you combine all my Amazon profits and like what I made earlier that year and like at the current rate, at the current earn rate for like Instacart, Uber, and like everything combined, that it's 6 figures. I broke 6 figures, and I was like, "What the fuck am I doing?" And then like literally like the week after, I broke. I was making more, literally just like sitting there, like doing, like literally just sitting there, like taking a shit, and I'm making more per hour than like just hauling these fucking carts, right? But like it took a lot of time and it took a lot of mistakes and setbacks to get to that point. And I think that's like where a lot of people just they're not willing to get there, right? Because like it's like you have to take the humiliation and all that. Like I didn't really feel like humiliated, but like it was like, oh, I belong to this like lower class. You see what I'm saying?
Like you thought you were like a peasant or something.
I mean, it's like you're fucking driving for Uber and you're like, well, like what the fuck am I doing? Like, did I really like go through like college and all this work, like to like fucking drive for Uber? Like but I knew it was just like a stepping stone, and I knew like I'm gonna fucking make it one day,
Mhm.
like whatever it took.
You had that belief and you were willing to put in the work. Like everyone, like like I'm sure that was like it hurt like your ego maybe a little bit, like your pride. So like okay, like I'm legit like a college graduate or whatever, and I'm legit driving Uber. Like like I'm sure that wasn't
I don't
like
give a fuck.
yeah, but it's like, but
Yeah.
you knew like a lot of people like aren't like willing to like like do that. They're like oh like some people might think they're above that or whatever. Like
Yeah,
or
you can't be above that, dude. It's like
yeah, like
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's all just a stepping stone.
yeah, like you got to think of it as like everything's a stepping stone. Like like it,
Yeah.
when you're doing like those menial like jobs or whatever, like, and you're like, oh fuck, this fucking sucks. Like fuck this shit. I'm way better than this. Like all this other shit. Like just know that you're not gonna be there forever, right? Like
Yeah, like
yeah, just like work your ass off. Like work like 2 3 jobs. Like and like save up enough money to like to do like your own business shit. Like you only have to
yeah,
if you
like
work hard enough, like you don't have to work like a few months. Like
yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. Like I remember Yaniv was fucking doing Postmate as well. Like me and him are literally just talking and like we're fucking delivering food, right? And we're like, I was a little further because I had I think I brought on one VA at that point, and he didn't have any. I was like, well, I spent all my capital, and I like what's there to do? I have like I have a couple spreadsheets with opportunities. I don't have any fucking money. What's the next course of action? And like probably bank. I should have been to the fucking bank, but I know that I know any better. And Yaniv's like, oh bro, just fucking join, just fucking do some Postmates. And I was like, okay, let's fucking do it. Those like couple $1,000 is worth like probably like 3 times that today, right?
yeah, like people don't realize that like every single like money that you have at the beginning, it like compounds so rapidly that like yeah, like $1,000 in like your first month is worth like fucking like 10K, like 6 months or a year from now, right? Or even more,
Yeah.
right? Because of the compounding effect. Like as long as, and I told you this too when we first started, like, when you make your first like, 1,000, 2,000 bucks, don't go out and buy some fucking Red Bottoms, some Louis, buy some fucking Balenciaga shit,
Some
like,
Balenciagas.
like, dude, like reinvest that shit back into the business because it's gonna keep compounding faster and faster. And like, look at you now, like you're fucking like, you're doing like, like over 20K profit, within like 5 months. Like, imagine if you had gone out, and just like blown your fucking money on designer shit. And like, oh, I worked for 2 months. Let's go on a vacation. Let's go to fucking let's go to let's go to fucking Hawaii and like blow like 10K. Like nah, like you'd be like legit in the exact same place, if not worse, because you're probably not gonna be working, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, and like you're gonna be in like a bad spot when you could have compounded your success, right? And like keep fucking working at it, right? Because it's easy to get complacent. Like I'm sure you're feeling it maybe right now. I'm not, maybe you are, maybe not. But I remember for myself personally, when I hit like that past that 10K month profit, like you're at like 20 right now, right? It's like easy to be like, oh, like everything's taken care of, right? It's like you don't have to worry about money really. Like I'm sure you're feeling it
Yeah.
right now. Like you're like, damn, like I'm balling. Like I can literally travel the world right now. I could like go to Dubai. I could go to Hawaii. Like sure, I might not be flying like first class, but I can easily travel there and like just stay in like some pretty nice place for like a while, right? And just
Right.
chill, just chill. It's easy to fall into that. I remember I fell into that when I made my first like 10K profit month, right? And I was like, oh, like dude, like dude, I can do shit now. Like I can go out and travel if I want. I can do this. Why am I
Yeah.
working?
It's like, you know,
I'm above that. I'm above working. Like, nah, fuck that.
I hope I don't get that. I don't get to that point soon, but like delegating to all the VAs, like, dude, when I so I have two VAs that does like pretty much all the bitch work for me, but I don't want to fucking do another credit app. I can do the product research and supplier sourcing, but I do not want to do another fucking credit app. But I did, like, I was reaching a point when I remember texting you. I was like, dude, I'm burning out. Like, what the fuck do I do? It's like I've all of these tasks that just needs to get done, but I can't fucking do it. Right. I don't know. I think like the way I solved it is just like literally just build a system to take care of all that shit. And like at this point, like I don't want to make any fucking cold calls anymore. So I hired
Yeah.
I hired a VA to do that.
Yeah, like it's all about building a system. Like you said, like you're doing like like at least 100 cold calls a day, right?
Minimum.
Yeah,
Minimum
like
100.
minimum 100, right? Like, do you know how many? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna call out any of the other students, right? But like, how many? Like, do you know how many other students besides you and Yaniv call 100 suppliers a day?
I don't know.
Zero.
Zero.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah. Like
there,
you
like,
need. I remember talking to Neve. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck it takes.
like
And
you
I was
guys
like, I'm gonna
both,
fucking beat you.
you guys both have that mindset, which is like you know how like I'm a massive preacher of action, right? Like I'm probably one of the biggest preachers of action, but like you guys, but like I'm also like a big preacher of mindset as well. Like you guys have that mindset of like I'm gonna do whatever the fuck it takes, right? I'm gonna like fucking
Yeah.
go all in, right? Because you guys have like both. You guys had like that all in like sort of mindset along with taking massive action, and that's and also like when you encountered a setback, right? Not a failure, like a setback, you learn
Yeah.
and then
It's so many.
you just
The
fixed it.
setbacks keep coming.
You
It
didn't
keeps coming.
cry.
The
You didn't.
setbacks always come.
Yeah, you didn't cry about it. You didn't fucking be like, oh fuck this business model, like fucking FBA's a scam. Like Amazon's a scam. I want my money back, or like or whatever. Like no, you're like okay, like this happened. How do I fix this? Right? Like how do I work on the next thing? Like going back to like the whole cold calling thing. Like there are some people in the group who like months in still haven't called 100 suppliers. Legit months in.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like I don't know what to tell you. Like this is the thing you need to do. Like, it's like I genuinely believe that like you need to call to like get a feel of the market. Like you need to stay connected. Like even like nowadays, like once I outsource that to my VA for cold calling, I'm still gonna be cold calling. Like I need to know what's going on with the market.
Mhm.
And like I think that the best way to suss out like feel the trends in your industry or in the categories that you sell is like you need to constantly be communicating with these suppliers. And yeah, like you said, like setbacks, it's gonna fucking, like even now setbacks still happen. It's like every fucking day there's a fucking like a small setback, and I'm like fuck, and then you just gotta fucking like do whatever the fuck it takes. And then like a big one, like the next big one might be like next week or like in 2 weeks from now. It's tax season. I feel like I'm gonna have a pretty big headache come tax season because I'm like using my personal credit cards to fund all my inventory. You know what I'm saying? And like that, it like the fucking headaches, it doesn't ever stop, right?
It's true. Like, and like I talked about this recently on a podcast I did with Matt, which I've yet to release. But like, yeah, like you always want to like, I'm gonna lead it back, but like you always want to like learn from like the mistakes of others and get like mentorships and all that shit. But like at the end of the day, like you're still gonna suffer failures and setbacks no matter how well someone teaches you. Like the amount of like setbacks you're gonna encounter, like you're gonna have a hard enough time, you know, like even with mentors, right?
Yeah,
Like you're gonna suffer so many like fucking like failures, setbacks. Like I remember myself, like I've spent like close to probably 100K, if not more than 100K, on like mentors, courses, and all that shit, and I still failed so much. Like I've legit lost probably like over half a mil, if not like probably more in terms of like lost money, like lost revenue, maybe even more. Right, that's just kind of like physical, tangible, like capital. Let alone what I could have made with that, probably like millions, right? You know, and like I had all the mentors in the world. I had people like who were making 9 figures teaching me, like, and I still like, there's like all these unexpected shit just comes up all the time, and
yeah,
you know, and there's one or two ways that people react is like, oh, like they just like, oh, throw their hands up in the air, oh, same for me, like whatever, or the other person is like, okay, this happened, this kind of sucks, but okay, like how do I fix this? How do I get back on track? Right.
you do the thing and you get the result. It's like what's always the one standard deviation move. Like think one standard deviation move, take the action to get the result.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I want to like talk about, like obviously like one of the biggest factors of your success was, you did call like over 100 like, suppliers like a day when you first started, like, and you were resourceful, you took action, right? Um, like what would you say to like, people that like aren't really doing that, or like students or whoever who's like not really doing that well, right? And it's like, hey, like, you should probably like do this, like, like this is why you're not getting results.
Yeah, couple things that I fixed in my overall like in terms of like fixing my what would you call it, like I guess the stream of like operations, like from like sourcing suppliers to like making the cold calls to product research, um and then like after that, like once you get those 3 parts down, and then like the rest is just inventory management, and that's just more advanced. But like if you can't even get to that point, I think that's where most people get stuck on, is the beginning, which is like sourcing suppliers, making the cold calls, and yeah, product research. And then it's just like finding what the bottleneck is and trying to improve those bottlenecks. If you're getting a lot of CSV files and like you can't find anything, then you gotta fix your supplier sourcing. If you're not getting enough CSV files, if you're not getting enough account setup, then you gotta make some fucking calls. And what's the other bottleneck? Yeah, it's like those are the 2 issues that I kept running into in the beginning. I like the number one was I wasn't finding enough opportunities, and then so I just had to up the dials, find more and up the dials, and then eventually I was like, Yaniv was telling me, yeah, bro, I'm making 20 calls a day, and I'm finding all of this, and I'm like, what the fuck? What's he doing? So I had to change my the supplier sourcing, and then eventually I got really my VAs got really good at that, and I was getting like 80 fucking leads a day. And I wasn't.
What method were you using? What supplier sourcing method?
I was using the analyzer tool, like
Analyzer
reverse
tool.
sourcing.
Okay.
Yeah, reverse sourcing. I was getting a shit ton of leads, and so now the issue is I don't have enough time to make all these calls, right? And then I had to change the criteria. I had to be more strict on, or a lot more. I have to widen up, or I have to close up the criterias and raise the prices, lower the sales ranks, and do all of that. And then so I was getting a lot higher quality products. So like, dude, like last week I probably made like 100 calls total, like maybe like 200 dials, but like 100 calls total, and I was getting like a greater output than like the previous 3 months or 3 weeks combined, just from last month alone or last week alone. Like I purchased more inventory in the last week of January than I did the first 3 weeks combined, because I changed my supplier sourcing. I like made it more strict, and that's because I got fucked over by one of my VAs who I hired for cold calling. You remember that guy? I was left with like 300 leads, and I'm like, fuck all this. All right, guys, I need you to start. I changed up the entire criteria, and then I found a couple. I opened like 2 3 accounts. One actually wanted to work with me, and I bought like 10. I bought $20,000 of inventory from one of them, and then I changed my and then I use Forecastly, which is the inventory management, and I was finding like a lot of holes in my inventory in my backend, and then I doubled up on pretty much everything I bought that I was running out of stock, and that was 40,000 right there.
Awesome. Like, if you don't mind me asking, like, what was the strict criteria that you changed your, your criteria to?
In reverse sourcing,
Yeah.
I raised the price. Before it was like 15. Now I raised it to 25. The sales rank, I still kept it at 150, and then let's see, it's pretty much it. Sales rank and the price are the two factors. You want to buy shit that is selling a lot and that's constantly back ordered, and yeah, you want to look for shit that's back ordered. That's where a lot of the gems are.
Like, they don't currently have like stock, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. And like those are from most of those items are from that I found is you buy through distributors. Like the brands itself, it's very rare. I do have a couple items, a couple brands that I'm selling that is that. But like in terms of like my overall success, I don't know. Like it's so random. Like if I knew what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong, I would just double down on whatever the fuck is working, right? But with this, like it's very random in like where these pockets of opportunities are, and like you do a bunch of shit and like a random opportunity is going to pop up. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a numbers game, right? It's like the more you put in the work, the more like the like luck happens, or like these opportunities come up, right? But
Right.
if you didn't take action, then these opportunities would not come up, you know?
Yeah, you're never going to stop making the calls. You're never going to I guess for your like new students, you're always going to be doing CN Unlimited. It's just like directly or indirectly, because like you give it to your VA, but you're still in charge of the criterias. When you're doing AMZ analyzer, you're still in charge of the criterias. You still have to feel out the market, and like different categories. I started recording like different category or different variations of like inputs. Or different filters for different categories, and that helped out tremendously. And I found out like, okay, maybe like for this category, I have to broaden up the search and widen up the search for the other categories, and that was very helpful for my VAs. And we were finding a lot of shit, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna call like these 300 leads. There's no fucking way.
Like, you were like smart, like you know, like you said you filtered you had a separate filter for like each category that you were, selling in. Like, uh, what would you say were like the best categories to sell in, or is it just like it doesn't matter?
I don't think it matters. Like, okay, my top three products. One's in kitchen, the other one is in pets, and the other one is in lawn.
So like
Right? That's like as broad as it
categories
gets.
categories that you can already sell in, right?
Exactly. Actually, dude, I got engaged for fucking toys. I got engaged for automotive and topicals. I'm still not selling a single item in these three.
And some people think, oh, if only I could get ungated in topicals or dietary supplements or like these, then I would finally get sales or like I'd finally get some results, right?
No,
Maybe I
you just
should
need to
maybe I
be
should spend
better.
$1,000, or $1,500 to get ungated in these, and then maybe I'll start, I started
Yeah,
like getting
yeah.
some products in.
Grass is always greener. Like it would, because you don't have when you don't have a system dialed down, when you don't have your process dialed down, like you're always gonna think like, I mean, it's natural to like look for opportunities. Like, where's the opportunity? Where's the opportunity, right? But what I found is, um, I don't know. I think that what really like contributed to like my past month of success is it's narrowing those search criterias and like the very like repetitive tasks maybe like back then using AMZ analyzer tool have like with a sale price of like maybe 15, 16, my VA is going to find like 80. But I started valuing my own time more, and I knew that I was the bottleneck for the outbound calling portion. And so I just told my VAs, you guys need to raise the price. And like I don't care if I bring on a third VA. Like I need 40 brands per day. I don't care what it takes. I'll bring on a fourth VA if I want, if I need to. But I'm only gonna limit my time for like these 4 hours in doing outbound. And like that's something that I changed. And like I think today I found a really good price sheet just doing that.
Awesome. Yeah, how many VAs do you have right now?
I have three on right now, but I have another one that's coming on, I think, Thursday.
Okay. So you have three VAs, and do you have a VA manager?
Yeah, I actually brought on my VA manager today, and I'm gonna bring a fourth VA on. So I'm gonna have four total by the end of the week.
Awesome. Yeah, and how important do you think it is to have like a VA manager or like VAs in general? Because like there's some people out there who think that they can just run everything themselves, you know?
Dude, this is one thing that you need to actually tell me because it got pretty fucking heated in the debate because he got a lot of capital and he was like, bro, you gotta hire an American. And I was like, dude, I don't know if I want to spend $15 and hire an American, like that's dude, that's more than I make fucking like doing these Ubers. And I'm like, I can't like figure out the cost. But and then he kept on explaining it to me, and he told me that like since I got the $30,000 loan, like how like realistically, what's the burn rate if I just hired an American VA paying 15 an hour for that guy? Like my max loss is like maybe like 6 months paying this guy, but like after 2 months I can definitely just fire him if it doesn't work out. How much money am I losing out on? Maybe like $4,000. But like, what's the upside? But it's not. But my point isn't about the upside. My point is, it's better to build a system where this is. It's not from It's not from me. It's from him. It's better to build a system, even though even though like you're barely breaking even. It's better to build a 7-figure foundation, and then you're and then like once all that is automated, your brain's gonna naturally look for other opportunities. Yeah, like your brain literally like levels up and it looks for different opportunities. Like, oh, once you get that 7-figure infrastructure set up, what is the bottleneck? What's the next bottleneck? It's capital. And that's what he did. He literally raised, I don't know if he signed an NDA. He literally raised a shit ton of money. And he's gonna fucking I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna beat me in revenue for 2021.
We'll see. We'll see.
I
Yeah, it'll be a
don't think
good,
he is.
race to seven figures. Some healthy
Yeah,
competition. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's gonna get there first.
I think he's gonna get to seven figures first, but I think I'm gonna my sales is gonna be higher in 2021
mm,
because
okay.
I have a lot of shit planned, like for the next like 3 months.
Yeah, and like you're at like that point also, like like 5 months in or whatever, where you can start like getting access to a lot more resources that you wouldn't have been
Yeah,
able to. Like there are a lot of
yeah,
like on specific e-commerce like loan providers or pay services or whatever, the where if you can provide them like your sales history and shit, like they'll give you like so much money, right? And like if you
yeah.
and if you partner with like multiple, you can get access to a lot of that, and let alone, I don't know if you're building also like net terms and all that with your distributors. Hopefully you are,
Yeah, yeah.
or like at least negotiating for better net terms each time you order from them, especially the ones that you order from consistently, right? But that's super important as well, because using OPM like other people's money is always the best way to go, right?
Right.
Yeah. Like, because like
Yeah,
especially if it's like net 30, net 60, it's pretty much like free money at that point, right?
dude, it's huge. Like net 30 is like it's out. It's like a credit card, but it's actually a bigger difference. It's like a huge difference.
Mhm. Like how
Like I
many
gotta.
yeah, how many net terms do you have right now?
I have. It's still just two because I like the past. I had so much fucking capital from, like I. My focus was just to like find ways to spend all this money, and then like even more money flowed in, and like for this month, like dude, like this month my buying power is around like 100K. So it's like what? Where the fuck am I gonna find the opportunities?
Like how much have you utilized? How much of the 100K have you utilized?
40K.
So you haven't used half of it.
Oh no, yeah, for the no, zero of the 100, zero of the 100.
Wait, so how much do you
Does
have
that
right
make
now?
sense?
Wait, what do you mean
So
zero out
like
of the 100?
my total inventory value is around 40K,
Okay.
and then that's gonna so like in the next 30 days that's gonna generate 20,000 of profit,
Wow.
right?
Nice.
And then I have the charge card, I have the and then my cash position is around 15K cash position. I have so 40K, so that's 20K in profit, and then plus my credit card, that's another 15K, and then I have another cash position, the card, and then the charge card. Charge card, I have around like 20 to 25K. For this one supplier, I have like an 8,000 net terms, and then the other one is like 5,000 net terms. And what else? And then literally like that 40K of inventory, that's gonna and then like plus 40K of inventory.
Okay, so
Because
you
like once I
have
sell that out, it's gonna free
okay.
up another 40K.
Right. Okay. So you have like 40K with the inventory that you're selling, and then you're gonna get that back. So like 40K back, and you currently have like 60K worth of like other
Of like
cash and
debt that I
capital
can,
that you
yeah,
can utilize,
like debt and capital, debt
Mhm.
and liquid that I can like pull up
that you haven't used yet.
that I haven't used it. Yeah.
Okay. So you like right now, like you're still trying to like use up all your capital, right? Because it like
Dude, dude,
yeah,
I have so much capital. All my cards are paid off. Like the balance is at zero for all my cards.
right. Like
Like I'm just looking for shit to buy right now.
that's good. No, that's awesome. But like yeah, okay. Yeah, like honestly, like I also like want to hop on a call with you also to see like, like you are at a more like, I would say you're at like a intermediate level right now, right?
Yeah,
Like
there's a long fucking way to go.
you're at an intermediate level. I'd say like once you get like probably like 100K a month profit, then you're like advanced, right? Like plus 100K a month plus.
What do you focus on? Like once you like, what do you like at like when you were at like 20K profit? Like what did you focus on to get to 100K, and what did you focus on like past 100K to get to where you are right now?
Yeah, so like there's a huge difference between 10K month profit and 100K month profit. Like it's
Yeah,
massive. Like like
right.
you don't realize it, but it's and then like the difference between 100K month profit and 1 mil month profit a month is like that's another beast in and of itself. Like, and like it's good to have like niche stores. It's good to like, start branding. It's like it's good to have like, a site where it's like, like kind of like the one that you that you sent me a link to the other month. Having like something like that set up, like, and like stuff that Matt and I have set up is like even having like your own like distribution company, right? Or like,
I think that's like the new MacGuffin, like, because
Mhm.
I actually changed my name to company name distribution, and I'm getting a lot of sales reps calling me back. You know what I'm saying?
It's huge.
But yeah,
It's
go ahead.
huge. Yeah, like because here's the thing. Like imagine the difference between you calling as some random fucking guy, right? Some random seller, oh, hey, I want to sell, especially if you say, hey, I want to sell to Amazon, like,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, it's like, hey, like I'm a distribution company. We're looking, to partner and build a relationship with you. And, and like the whole game changes, right? When you can
Right.
come in as a distributor. Because a lot of, you know, especially if you're going to like brands a lot of time only sell to the distributors. Like a lot of the time.
Right.
They don't want to sell to some random one-off guy who says, "Hey, I'm going to sell your shit on Amazon and destroy your brand." Like, that's all they hear. As soon as they hear that, they're like, "Oh, this motherfucker's trying to, fuck our shit, fuck our shit up." Like they don't know, they don't want to work with you. Like like they're legit gonna just hang up on you, right? But like, I mean, to answer your question, like when I was at like 10K a month, I think the biggest thing, like, yeah, like I mean, you've kind of nailed it, like, and I feel like you already know what you need to do. Like you have all this capital, right? That you're just
Yeah.
not utilizing, right?
So
So
like
it's
right
like,
now I'm literally just building the infrastructure, and like
Mhm.
I know like my profits are gonna, I don't, not tank, but like it's gonna take a hit the
Mhm.
next month or two as I build this. And then after that, I think it's literally like just building on, like literally just expanding everything. And then no, I could like fuck off to like Hawaii or some shit. Like I really need a break. But like before that, I do want to hit like 100K profit before I like take any major breaks. And like thank God the vaccine is rolling out slowly, and like I'm not feeling all the FOMO. But like until then, like I think I have like a 3-4 month break. But I think before May, before June, I'm gonna hit that point
Mhm.
if I build the infrastructure correctly.
Yeah, it is all about the infrastructure at the end of the day. Like without that, like your business is going to go to shit. Like you won't be able to keep
Yeah.
up and like manage your growing rate and handle all the revenue and sales and all that if you don't have the infrastructure. Like I remember, like that was my problem, back when I first did all this and I didn't know any better, and I was just building all this. I had so many sales, but I didn't have infrastructure.
Mhm.
So like I was spending so much time just like putting out fires here, putting out fires there, and like not having the systems in place to keep up with my explosive like growth, right? You know, so
Right.
yeah, infrastructure is probably the most important thing, right? Because as soon as you have the infrastructure, it doesn't matter how quickly your growth is, if obviously, right? Um, so I think it's, yeah, like that's exponentially important as like as something you should definitely do. Um, in terms of like getting to like that 100K month point, like you've got to think to yourself like, okay, like how much capital do I realistically need, you know, to hit 100K a month, right? Like say like you expect to do like a 30% ROI or or whatever, right? If you expect to do a 30% ROI, that means okay, like I'm gonna need like 300K worth of capital, right? And then it's kind of like reverse engineering the process, like this, like it's like how do I get access to 300K of capital? Okay, and then once you get 300K worth of capital, okay, like how am I gonna supply? Like how am I gonna get like be able to utilize all that capital? Like obviously keep finding, suppliers have like, like I remember at one point I had like, 20 VAs finding suppliers for me because, I was legit
Yeah.
paying like, like 10K a month just to find suppliers, right? But
Mhm.
it was worth it, right? It was like,
Right.
if I have like, I legit had like teams of people just to find, like, just like scouring like the entire fucking web, just to find suppliers, right? So it's like just mass scaling your operations, right? And just upping the ante. and then like having also separate teams for each thing, like having it like a supplier team, like they're strictly like finding suppliers, and then you have your cold calling team, right? And then like so then they work synergistically, right? Like your supply team has like this massive list, right? Like thousands and thousands of suppliers, right, to call, and then you have your cold calling team, you're literally calling all of them, like and like you can highlight VAs in like Costa Rica or something so they don't have a weird accent or something, right? Um,
Yeah.
because sometimes if you have like an Indian team or Filipino team, they're more probably suited towards the finding, like the more like hands-on tasks where you don't have to talk to people, right?
Right.
So it is like mass scaling the operations a lot, right? And like yeah, and then you do find a lot more opportunities when you have it like mass scaled, and like you want to have like teams and teams of people, right? You want to have like a lot,
Mhm.
like you want to have like teams for everything, right? Yeah, like as I said, like you want to have like the supplier team, cold calling team, like you want to have like the shipping plan team, like you want to have like the PR processing team, like, and they all need like you need to like utilize them all together in a system, right? Like have like Google Sheets, have all that shit, right? Obviously, right? Like have it all synchronized, and like that takes a lot of time, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Like you literally have to personally interview like all these people on like free up or whatever, um, you know, and all this other shit to find the right people, right? So like even nowadays, like I spend most of my time just talking to new hires, like like that's what I do because I mean I can't really even outsource that because like my manager might not know what to look for, right? It's like if
Right.
I think like my manager might think they're good, right? But if I talk to them for 5 seconds and I think they're shit, then they're shit, right? Like so like a lot of the time like I'm just like okay, like I'm gonna have to make sure this person's not retarded, right? Yeah. Like
Yeah.
that's honestly the biggest
Yeah.
thing. It's like okay, do I want to bring them on into my team? Like do I even want to take the time to train like my system into them, right? Because
Yeah.
you're spending time. Like you have to integrate them into system, be like, hey, like do this, do this. Obviously, you can have systems in place to minimize the amount of time you need training each person with like videos and having an SOP and all that shit, right? Like that's
Right.
right. Like that's all super fucking important to bring in new hires as quickly and effectively as possible, right? But yeah,
Mhm.
having teams in place, utilizing like and building like that 7, 8, 8, 9 figure infrastructure, right? Like I have business partners who have 9 figure infrastructures, right? And I look at what they do, right? Like also
Mhm.
networking is super important. Who you hang around. Like I don't know how many other people you hang around who are also crushing it at wholesale FBA, but I hang around people. Everyone around me is doing like over like $1 million a month, right? Or more. Some people are doing 10 mil a month doing wholesale or at like Amazon in general. I talk with them like every day, right? Like you gotta look at who's around you, right? Because I remember when I was doing 10K a month, the people around me were also doing like 5, 10K a month, and and like I was like, oh shit, and then I was like staying there, I was like, oh shit, like I need to like change this shit up, right? I'll literally like go travel, you know, meet like these people who are like speaking like once, right? At like some event like halfway like across the country, like on the other side of the country, right? I'll spend like 2K just to fucking travel there, set up like spend like 4 days a week there just so I could maybe have a conversation, right? And talk and maybe network with them, right? And like here's the thing, like you're like at like a like you're starting to get like decent results, and like once you start getting better results, people who are getting good results want to hang out with you. Like I mean it's the way of the world works, right?
Right.
Like sure like someone who's doing a lot better than you might offer you some advice, right? But they're not gonna be like wanting to hang out with you all the time because it's like you're not like at the same level yet, right?
Right.
It's only like when you're at the same level that it's like okay, like let's talk shit, like this it's whatever. It's like it's how the world fucking works, right? Like I remember I tried to like when I was only doing like 10K or like 50K or whatever, I would talk to people who would make like a mil a month, you know, sure they'd like talk to me for a little bit, but they're like, oh, like what do you do, whatever, right? And if they realize okay, like this person like isn't at the same level, it's like yeah, it's like I mean, yeah, like it is what it is. Like you're not gonna be able to make that like solid. Like okay, like this is a potential business partner. This is a potential like someone on hand with regularly. Because successful people always want to hang out with other successful people, just as successful as them, right? Like we're not hesitant to offer advice, right? Like we'll always offer advice. If anyone asks, like, hey, like here's advice. But it's like we're super selective with who we spend our time with, right? And you should be too, right? And I talk about this all the time, right? But like if everyone around you is making less money than you, like that's gonna rub off on you, right? Like take
Right.
your like a test is like, okay, look at the last like 5, 10 people you texted. Take all their incomes, add them all together, divided by that number. That's probably roughly where your income is as well. I found that to be my life too. Like if I go through like my last like, like 10 messages, everyone makes like over $1 million a month, you know? Like, yeah, I could probably average it out to that, you know? It's like, okay, like that's who I'm talking to every day, right? When I'm on my phone, which I'm not really on my phone that much, but yeah, like that's, like that's who you're in constant communication with. And like all it takes is like that one idea from like one person you're talking to completely change the way you do business, right? Like I used to think networking was
Yeah.
bullshit. I used to think networking was horseshit. I was like, what? Like what the fuck is networking gonna do for me? Like what? They're gonna like trade my VAs for me? Like what? No. But like that's not the thing. Like all it takes is one fucking idea to like completely change the way you do your business, right?
Yeah.
And change the way you do things, and then that will explosively increase your results, right? So, yeah, I mean that's kind of long-winded way of
No, that
yeah,
totally makes sense. Like literally, like the last part you said, like one idea. You need give me an idea, like just hire American.
mhm.
Like literally, like hired American, and then I had to completely change the entire like this whole weekend. I spent my entire weekend just rebuilding the system for my company, and now like it's gonna take like maybe like 2 or 3 days, but like I think like the output's gonna be insanely higher. But now that talking to you, I think I need to completely like reset the entire system to to expand for it to scale at a higher pace. So I'm gonna invest a lot more money into pretty much building that. Maybe the next like 2 3 weeks, maybe like 2 weeks. It's
Mhm.
gonna take 2 weeks, I think,
Yeah,
and then like bring on more VAs and like massively expand this.
yeah. It's like mass scaling. It's like, yeah, like once
Yeah,
you have a system that works, then just scale it. You know, like just build the fucking infrastructure, scale it, right? And then that's how you get like explosive results, right? Especially if you have like unutilized capital, then like the reason why you don't
yeah,
utilize it, you don't is because you don't have enough like relationships or you don't have like enough products, right? Then it's like okay, like what I'm doing works, but I just don't have enough. Okay, then okay,
yeah,
I only have three VAs right now. Maybe I need 30, right? Or like
right,
say you have three VAs right now, or whatever, four, and you're only utilizing like 40K, like 40% of your capital. Maybe you need a 2.5x your VAs, so you need to have at least 10 VAs, right? Like,
right.
does that kind of make sense? Maybe you need more than 10
Yeah, no,
VAs,
that totally makes sense.
right?
Yeah, like
Like,
it just goes back to like the that fucker on YouTube that like the shipping video, and like I'm like, okay, this guy's literally just figure out an efficient way to be like more retarded, and I'm like, okay, what am I doing that's like that I didn't know, right?
yeah, it's like
Like I think like
what's
this
your
is
form? What's like your form of retarded, right? I always think
right,
about this too. I think about this all the
yeah,
time. I'm like, where am I being retarded? Like, where am I being
yeah,
fucking stupid in my business? Where am I spending like a retarded amount of time doing that I could just just outsource it or just get rid of it altogether, right? Like, what is it in my business that I'm spending time on that's producing me like no ROI, like 1% ROI, but I'm spending time on it for some reason, right? Yeah, like get rid of it or outsource it, whatever, right? Like
gotcha,
and like that's when you like when you get like better results and you're gonna like think this way too, right? And I don't know like what your goals are, right? Like some people would be so happy with your results right now, like 20K month profit, like that's like that's pretty good for most people, right? But it's
right.
like do you
That's
want to
nothing compared to
right,
like
it's like
compared
it
to
might
like
be
so many stores. It's nothing.
like it might be nothing compared to like what you want to make or what other people are doing, right? Like
Yeah,
I remember like before I remember when I was like doing like 100K a month, I didn't even think that people could do $1 million a month. I was like, that wasn't even in my reality until I met people doing it. And I was like, oh shit, you're doing $1 million a month? I was like, the fuck am I doing? Like, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think like, oh yeah, I can get to that point too. You know? And like it just changes your reality, right? And when you hit 1 mil, there's always someone doing like 10 mil. It's like it's like insane,
right.
right? It's like, but you don't even think like okay, like you don't even think it's like it's possible until you like
You don't think
Like,
it's possible? Yeah, like, and then your peers around you are like, "Oh my God, you're making so much money."
yeah, and everyone around you's like fucking like sucking your balls and being like, "Oh my god, like you're so good, like you're so
Yeah,
like wow, whatever," and like that, and like it's sometimes it's hard for that not to let it like get to your head, right? Say
right.
YB right now, you're making like 100K a month profit, like you're making a legit over a 7-figure income, right? You're making $1.2 million a year, right? Like, what do you think the people around you would be like? Do you think they'd be like, obviously you'd probably be, you probably finally have the money to afford some Balenciagas maybe, right? Like on the weekends, right? Right? And like maybe drive a
Yeah.
better car maybe or whatever. And then, and then when you do the reach up, when you just casually mention numbers, oh yeah, I made like 100K. Yeah. Yeah, I made 100K this month, whatever, like because it's normal, right? It's like standard, whatever. And they're
Right.
like, oh my god, like how, oh my god, you're so special or whatever, right? And it's easy to like fall into like that trap, right? Of like, you know, of like thinking you're better than what you're doing, or like being above, you know, starting to like feel like you're above hard work, or like and getting complacent, be like, oh, dude, I can just go ahead and like I can just go around fuck girls now and just travel the world. I don't need to work anymore, bro. I'm making some figures. Making some figures. Like that's just for peasants, Work is for peasants, man. Like I remember I thought that for a little bit. Like I remember I thought that for like a month. I was like, oh, bro, I don't need to do anything, bro. Like, dude, I don't need to work. Like, what do I do working, man? Like, when I could just be doing shit. But like, as soon as you take your foot off the gas, like you don't just stay where you are. You don't just stay at that 7-figure income once you take your foot off the gas. Oh no.
Right.
Everything comes crashing the fuck down. And quickly too. Super quickly. Right? Like of course you can
Yeah.
minimize it by having systems built in place, but there's always like those little things, right? That you don't pay attention to that end up fucking it up. Sure your VAs, can be good, whatever. And it's also always good to have VA manager. Like VA manager is a game changer. I remember one of my hedge fund friends taught me to do that, right? And that completely change everything. But at the end of the day, like if you're not like, keeping like your finger on the pulse, like your shit's gonna fuck up, right? So
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I broke 10K, the emails just started piling up. The list of qualified leads started building like bigger and bigger because I wasn't making as many calls.
Yeah.
And like my shit was getting out of stock a lot more, and I was like, "Fuck, dude! Like,
Yeah.
I gotta build a better system."
Yeah.
And like, I gotta do this more. Like, the fucking the work doesn't stop. Like, the headaches don't. It never stops. That's like one thing that I learned.
Yeah.
It's just
Like
you
yeah,
know,
like when you took your foot off the gas pedal, right? Like the leads started building up, like everything started building up. You started running out of stock of things. What kicked your ass back into gear? What made you think like, hey, like I need to get back on this shit?
what kicked my ass. I had a day where I made $200 profit,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, 200 times 30 is 6,000. I can't live off of $6,000. I gotta get back. I gotta get back to 300.
Mm-hmm. Right. Like so, your
Like,
standards went like your standards are higher, right?
yeah, exactly. I was like, I will not accept $200 profit, and from making like, dude, at one point, like in late December, I was pulling in like $500 profit days in December, and like January, I was like the first week January, it was still like that those high profit days, like high margin, high profit days were still going, and then the next like second week, just fucking complete plummet, and I was like, fuck. Like it's Christmas break, it's New Year's break. Like I can make the excuses like, oh, the suppliers weren't like no one's picking up my phone calls, like blah blah blah. But it's like, okay, like what the fuck do I need to do next in order to get to my next milestone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like I need to do this, I need to do that. And then like my brain just like my brain had like a list of things that I needed to do to like get to the next level. Like just like automatically. I'm like, okay, this is the thing that I need to do to get to that next level. I need to build, I need to hire on like 2 more VAs. I need to build the system. Okay, this is the bottleneck. I need to fix this bottleneck. Where's the opportunities? Like maybe like this category has opportunities. If I had this much cash flow, that if I have like this much more cash flow that's projected, okay, maybe I need to put some money into private labeling. But before that, I might need to like systematize my entire wholesale process first before I do the marketing, the private labeling, and all that shit. And like all the ideas just literally just started popping up in my head. And I was just I couldn't fucking sleep that night because like it's like it might be the fucking supplements, you know.
Nah, bro. But like when you're immersed in this, like I remember, not as like much as I am now, but I remember when I was like spending like 16 hours a day working, like strictly on like Amazon shit. Like
Yeah,
it was all I could think about, like all the time. Like I like
dude,
live,
like you
breathe,
can't
and
fucking
sleep
I
it.
can't fucking sleep. Yeah, it's like it's so fucking weird, right? It's like I don't know. It could be the supplements, like honestly.
Yeah. No, but it becomes like it's almost like an obsession, right? Like
Yeah.
like I have like a few stories of like back in college where I mean this is when I was doing Amazon dropshipping, right? But like I remember I was working like fucking like all day every day, even in class, like sometimes I have to show up to class for attendance or whatever, but I was always just working. I would never pay attention or whatever. But like I remember I was like, I was working on, the Amazon shit one day, and I was just working, in the college classroom, and then I hear like this girl, like the table over, like to my left, just say Amazon. Like that's all I heard. Like and like just like how like the RAS, like the your
Yeah.
filtering system.
Yeah.
You know,
RAS. Yep.
like there's
Like
like
you're chatting.
there's
Yeah.
hundreds of other sounds. There's hundreds of other like the teachers talking or like the college professors talking, like all these other conversations going on. But like I hear like and she wasn't even speaking loud or anything, but like she was just like having a conversation with this like the person next to her. She's like, oh, Amazon. And I was just like I was like I was like, what's going on? What's going on? Yeah, and then it's so funny, but like, and then I listened in more depth, and she was like, yeah, I just bought this thing off Amazon, blah blah, and like, yeah, it's like whatever, and I was just like, this might sound kind of weird, but I remember, like I remember when class was over, like people like leaving whatever, and she was like, so okay, and I was just like, oh hey, like like, you know, I couldn't help but overhearing,
That
but
was your
like,
opener.
yeah, yeah, no, I couldn't help but overhearing, but like, yeah, like, you said you like bought something off Amazon or something, and she's like, oh yeah, whatever, and like, that's so funny. Opener. No, but yeah, no, and I was like, and then no, but like I was like all about like whatever, but and I was like, oh, like, oh, you said you bought this, like, like what was it? What product was it? Like, what made you make
Yeah.
this? What made you buy it? And like, like how did you go about like buying it or finding it? And she's just like, yeah, I don't know, I just put in this keyword. I'm like, no, she didn't say that, but she's like, I just typed in like this.
This keyword.
Well, yeah, that's what I was thinking in my head. Like when she said this, I was like, okay, so she put in that keyword, okay, and then like, yeah, and then like, and then it's like, yeah, it was on like the like first page. I was like, oh, what was it? What about the product made you buy it? It's like, was it like, like, and I asked like all these questions that like she probably think I was like weird or something, but like, but I was like, I was like, dude, I was obsessed. I was like, because at that point I was like, oh, like I just need to find products, whatever, and like, oh, like, so it's crazy, but it comes back to the point. It's like, yeah, like your mind just never shuts off, right? Like,
Mhm.
I remember I'll try to have normal conversations with people, and all I could talk about was like Amazon, you know. I'd go to like a party, like
No, it's so
like,
true. Like,
yeah,
like, because you don't think about anything else. It's like,
yeah,
like
nothing else to talk
it's all
about.
just like it's all yeah. Like when you fucking just immerse yourself in Amazon all day, it's like literally like everybody I talk to, it's like it's all Amazon, and then like like I'll spend like 5 minutes like the only 5 minutes that I get out of my day, like I post memes, and then like it's back to Amazon. You know what I'm saying? It's like you dream fucking Amazon, you think about Amazon. It's like, how do I improve the business? Where's the opportunities? How do I improve the business? It's just like on repeat. Like there's this thing I need to fix. Like these are the things I need to do today. It's like bam, 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 bam. And then it's like you wake up and you go to the gym and then you eat and you work again and you go to bed. It's just like on repeat. There's like nothing else. You don't think about anything else.
it it's like those people though, like the people that like do like get obsessed and like they like work, like that's all they like work on, that's all they like from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed, like that's all they do. Those are the people that make it. Like those are the people that fucking like do well, right? And it sounds like you're on the right track,
Right.
right? And like people might
I
say,
mean,
oh
like you
yeah,
have to.
yeah, like people might say, oh yeah, it's unhealthy, it's whatever. It's like that sounds like you're gonna burn out, man. You're gonna just whatever.
No,
Right? You
I
know,
think being poor is unhealthy. You know what I'm saying?
poor being poor
Having
is
the
a
fucking
very
cortisols. Like, I mean, like, think how fucking competitive this. Like, now that you're telling me, like, oh wait, so my business, I'm competing with 10 VAs. That's fucking cold calling. Like, oh, like that's just fucking like kicks your ass in the gear. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, it's so fucking competitive. Like in this day and age, right? And like this opportunity won't last forever.
Nope.
Like, remember, like drop shipping was an opportunity. This is an opportunity. Like, and then there's gonna be the next opportunity. But like once the next opportunity comes, like, are you gonna have the capital? Like that's what like really like drives me. It's like if I don't like squeeze like every fucking like every fucking like bit out of this opportunity, like what's the next one?
Mhm.
Like maybe the next one, maybe I do discover the next one, but like I don't have the capital because I didn't fucking work hard enough to
Yep.
capitalize on the next onto the next one. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And like imagine like you did this business model, this wholesale business model or whatever. Like you made some money, right? But then you took your foot off the gas pedal, just chilled, right? And then you end up just spending all the money that you made. And then another opportunity comes by and you don't have the capital
You're
to
fucked.
pursue that opportunity.
You're,
Like
you're
how mad
fucked.
are you gonna be? Like how like dude, like I don't know like what drives you, man, at the end of the day, but like at the end of the day, like I don't want to have like regret, man. Like the worst thing that will ever happen to me is like, oh shit. Like imagine if I just worked a little harder, right? I could have
Yeah,
lived a life that no like better than 99.99% of people, right? If I
yeah,
just put in like that extra fucking work. If I just like push through, you know, like that fucking year or 2 years or whatever, just put in that fucking work and live the life that people can only fucking dream about. Like a dream, like the top like 0.001% of people, like reserved for like celebs and fucking like billionaires, right?
right.
Like, like is like what type of life do you want to live? Are you okay with living like a kind of like average life? If you are, then okay, you probably don't need to do all this shit. Like, you know.
Right.
But if you want to live like
Yeah,
that
like
fucking high ass life, dude, you gotta fucking do the work, man.
yeah, like I think like how like the reason like we like why me and you connected is like because like we're both immigrants and we both grew up in like pretty similar mindsets.
Mhm.
Like our parents like fucking like work their fucking asses off and like this work ethic is like it's not new to me, right? Like we wake up and the fucking like you wake up and then like I don't see my dad when I woke up and then I don't see him when I go to bed because he's just like work and like it doesn't stop, right? And like we're fortunate enough to like see to be able to be like around this opportunity and like how many people like how many like what percentage of the human race actually has access to this opportunity, right? And like you gotta get like you gotta fucking squeeze every bit out of this fucking tree right here. Like you gotta take what's yours.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's like one of the biggest reasons why I like even started like doing like mentorship and all this and like making it like I still never like fucking post about it or like advertise it or like most of the people that like come in like someone refers someone, it's like, hey, like this person like said like you were good or something. And like I was like and I'm just like in my DMs and I'm just like, oh yeah, about that, like here, like I legit just send them to like I have it all systematized, of course, like just with everything in my life, right? And I'm just like, here, fill this application out, and then yeah, and then we'll hop on like a quick call and see if it's a good fit or whatever, right? Like and like yeah, and then that weeds out everybody who's not serious, right? And like and then the people who are like actually schedule a call with me, I hop on, see if whatever, like see if it's like okay, like is this person going to be like retarded? Like, you know, like no, like I'm legit like being like, yo, like is this person going to legit fail at this business model? Blame me, put my reputation through the fucking ground, you know, and then say it's all my fault, right? I mean, I don't want that, you know, like, like that's like a lose-lose for
Yeah,
everybody, right? It's like,
right.
like fuck that shit, But like, I do want to like kind of like talk about like like you're one of my first students, right? Like I brought you in, and I want to know like and I'm actually curious about this too, right? Like like what value like did you get out of like the mentorship and like stuff like that?
I pretty much what do you mean? Like what value? Like
Right.
people
Like,
want
like,
to
what do you think you gained out of it? Like, do you feel like you could have done this on your own without like, me helping you, or like, do you like, or like, what do you think?
honestly, I think that like the business model you taught is like there's I don't maybe like I don't know, but like it's like the best business opportunity out there. Like in like this day and like literally at this time. And like literally just you showing me that like you just showing me this business model, I think is like literally where all the value is. Like just that literally just you telling me like, hey, go look up FBA wholesale. And then what I think is like just FBA wholesale, like that is like a six-figure skill set or a six-figure like business model. And then you like teaching me like oh do this with the VAs. This is what you do. Like you showed me like literally the macro. Like okay, this is what I do. Like this is these are the goals I'm going for. Like starting out, it's okay. I need to make this business profitable, and then you show me like okay, this is what you do. This is what you do. And then now that it's profitable, okay, now I need to optimize this thing and this and this thing. I need to do this and this and this. And then the next thing is like, okay, instead of having VAs, like, okay, I need to build a company, right? So like you literally, so like I think that's like more valuable. I don't know if you like explicitly said that, but like I literally just looked at everything you did and I saw like a roadmap on like everything that I needed to do. Does
Right.
that make sense?
Yeah. Like you just kind of like modeled what I did, right? And
Exactly.
you didn't like be like, oh, like I don't know if I do that, I'm gonna get the same results. You just like blindly like, okay, I'm gonna just do it because he's doing it.
Suspension of disbelief and what is it? And
Massive
the
action.
other one, I forgot the other one.
Massive action.
Yeah, massive action. Yeah,
Yeah, like
exactly.
yeah, like those are the two things. Like I say, like I still get like questions about like, oh, like is this the right way to like call people? Like, should I call people like this
Just
way?
fucking do it.
And I'm just
Fucking
like,
do it.
I'm like, I don't know how to put this too lightly, but like, like you have to fucking call. Like, I don't know
Dude,
what else to tell you. Yeah.
like on my first day of like my very like first sales job, like the very first day I shadowed one of my friends, and he's like he's like if you want to be successful in this job, just don't be a fucking pussy. That's all he said. Because you can't with like these suppliers. It's like there's always like this like resistance, and I think that's where most people don't do it, right? Because Amazon it requires kind of like a more like introverted, like a technical skill set, and then like you also need that like other side. You need to like finesse these relationships, and you need to like it's like literally a sales job, and then but like it's like a very intense like technical like math kind of job, and like you need both sides. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then like beyond that, like it's also like the systems building, which is like the next level, and that's like the thing that I'm struggling with it now. It's like building and like literally learning how to build a system and building a company and building everything.
Yeah, and I mean that's what separates like like a six-figure income, to like that's like the difference between six to like nine figures, right? It's all about how
Yeah,
good your infrastructure is and your systems. Like that's the only, yeah, that's legit the only difference between, because anyone who's doing six figures, like they know what to do, right? To get the six figures, like you pretty much know what to do.
yeah,
Well, you never would have reached there, but now it's like, okay, like you have the infrastructure, the systems, the VAs, the everything, right? So that you yourself aren't working 20 hours a day, right? On all
right.
these shitty tasks, right? You know,
Oh
right?
my god, yeah, fuck.
Yeah, like if you just have three VAs
Nasty.
working 8 hours a day, that's already 24 hours, right? Like,
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure you can't work more than 24 hours a day, YB, right? You know,
right.
like unless you
Like
found a way, but like I don't know, but yeah,
like three retarded VAs like working like the 24 hours is more output than like you working by yourself on the 16.
hmm yep,
And
yep.
it's literally just the leverage, like the more and like that's like something I'm fucking up on like myself is like I'm being a Jew on like because I'm like very selective on my VAs and like I'm not willing to spend, but I think at this point I'm gonna be willing. I need to be willing to spend more to hire better talent when it comes to VAs.
Yeah, it's like counting pennies versus dollars, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I know exactly the mindset that you have because I had it too for the longest time. No, like I'm not gonna lie, like
Yeah,
I like it's crazy. Like I would legit be like, oh yeah, I'm saving, or like I'm saving money, but like, but also the biggest thing was like I didn't want to give up like control or whatever. I thought they were gonna like just
Yeah, that's another
fuck
thing
my
too.
shit up. I thought they were just gonna fuck my shit up, which is maybe the bigger
Yeah.
thing. It was like a mixture of both. Um, and which is why I feel like I'm actually you know, like decent at teaching, new people or whatever, because I've literally encountered like almost everything that like you're probably going to encounter. I know exactly what you're thinking at like every point. Like I know you're going to be a Jew,
Yeah.
like when you're like when you're hiring your first VA, like because
I
I
forgot this
felt
is
exactly.
recorded.
I mean I might have to edit it, but like um yeah, but yeah, like yeah, I felt exactly that same way. And like my friend who was making $500,000 a month at the time was like, yo, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, like, hire a fucking VA, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're never gonna get past, where you're at, if you don't start hiring some VAs, And it's like at the end of the day,
Mhm.
like you're like say like your best VA is probably not gonna be anywhere like near you. Like at best, your best VA is gonna be like 50% of you, right?
Right.
You know, like
Yeah. Like the other issue was like consistency. It's like reliability and like consistency is like the huge part with VAs. And I think like I just need a better system of like oh like what do you call it? Like checking on like VA work is like
do you use like Time Doctor and stuff?
yeah, I do.
Okay. Yeah, I mean Time Doctor. Yeah, I mean, with Filipino VAs, like I like them, but like sometimes they are a little like flaky or whatever. Like they
Yeah.
a lot of the times they say it's not their fault, or whatever, like because they have a lot of like natural disasters apparently. Um, you know, the power, like they say, like the power outages every other fucking day, like a fucking tsunami
Yeah.
hits or something, or like an earthquake
Yeah.
hits, and like I never hear from them ever again. Maybe they're dead or something, but like you know, but like you know, but yeah, like I mean, it's always good to have VAs, like that I learned from just people I'm connected to, like having VAs in different parts of the world, right, and in different time
Mhm.
zones, so that you always can have VAs working at all hours during the day, right, as well,
Gotcha.
right,
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah,
Other than Philippines, like where would you go?
yeah. I mean, like like India is good, Philippine time obviously, and then having like Costa Rica maybe as well. Like
Costa Rica.
that's what I see.
Yeah.
Like some of my friends who are very high level have VAs at. Um, so a little golden nugget, right? So, but yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, we could just wrap it up. Yeah, I think we've been going longer than I
Yeah,
thought, honestly.
I think we covered pretty much everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Just don't be a like make the fucking calls. Don't be a fucking pussy. And then once you get the business model dialed down and like you figure everything out, you just need to
Mhm.
scale and learn how to scale.
Like,
And
yeah, yeah. Like, I did want to ask, like, a few more like general things, like for the people out there like watching this, right? As like, do you think it matters like coming in with like no experience with like e-commerce or whatever, or like Amazon? Like, if you're like, whether you're like 18 or like 40 years old, like, does it matter like what age you are, like, etc.
no, no, like I didn't know any e-commerce. I didn't even know how to like make a Shopify. Like I didn't know how to make a Shopify. I had to make a Shopify. I didn't know like eBay. Like I don't even know like what other marketplaces are out there. I don't even know how to add. Honestly, dude, you know what? I don't even know how to add a product on Amazon yet. Like I only know how to hop on a listing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Yeah.
that's the amount of experience I have.
Mhm.
Like I got like I tried to learn everything I could, and I got really good at the things that matter for like this time, if that makes sense. It's like like hopping on listings is that's literally all of wholesale. I don't know how to upload an image or like add a product or like optimize I know how to optimize the listing now. I had to learn that. But like you don't need the skill set. You just need to fucking like grind your fucking ass off and like everything you have to learn and like whatever skill set that was needed in wholesale right now probably you probably didn't need that like 10 years ago and like the role's always changing. You always just need to like adapt and learn.
Very true. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, we can wrap it up there, man. But I want to thank you for your time and coming on, and honestly, I just want to thank you in general just for like taking action and like believing in yourself, right? And just not like you know like not being like one of those people that just like just wants to feel good about himself and just whatever, and and just like do mental masturbation all the time. And just like yeah, you just went out there and fucking did it instead of just talking about it, which is a trait that I can't say most people have, right? um but yeah.
Yeah, no,
uh
thanks for like teaching me and like being part of this journey, because like there's a like after like you like mentoring, like literally like you mentoring me like through like this entire like Amazon thing, like I look at like a lot of like these people like that says like entrepreneurship, and like a lot of these guys like you know what I'm talking about. It's like there's a lot of horseshit out there. There's a lot of bullshit. A lot, like 90, dude, even like Amazon stores, like I have a theory like 90% of Amazon stores aren't even profitable. You know what I'm saying? Like I crunched the numbers and I'm like, dude, why are you selling this? And it's like it's these big stores with like tens of thousands of reviews. I look at their fucking store. It's like there's just no way these guys are profitable, right? And it's like it's very hard to find like successful people nowadays. Like at least for me, but like you probably have access to a lot more of these resources.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but like yeah, like there is so much shit out there, and like I never wanted to get into like the whole teaching space. Like I already told you this, and like like but like I just see all this shit out there. Like I see like all
Yeah.
these people like I'm not even gonna go into like drop shipping automation stores and all that shit. But like I mean, there's people making so much money off like drop shipping automation stores and like literally just taking like 20, 30K of people's money. Their stores are literally suspended like 2, 3 months later, and they just lost like 30K. Like I'm like I'm like, how's that like not illegal? Honestly, it's like
Right.
it's like a downright like it's almost like a fucking Ponzi scheme. Like like
Yeah.
I'm like, how is that even ethical? Like you got to have like like there's no way you don't know that like that's gonna happen, right? Like
Yeah.
getting into it, like but when people are willing, like you just have like like a couple like screenshots and you're like, oh yeah, they're making this much money, right? Yeah, for like half a month and then they're suspended, but like you have the fucking the
Yeah. The
screenshot.
screenshots. Yep.
You have the screenshot of like them making a lot of massive sales, because with dropshipping it's very easy to get massive sales. And the dropshipping stores that I do know and that actually aren't suspended right now, they're making like 5% margins, like like
Jeez.
like 5% ROI, 5% ROI, and I'm
This is
just like,
dog shit.
we're doing like 100K a month. Oh yeah, congratulations. And some of them are
Like
like
5K.
some of them are like fucking like break even, like some of them only make money on the cash back that they get on their credit cards. Like, can you imagine that? No, I'm not even
Yeah.
kidding. I'm
No,
legit
I
not
know.
even
I know
kidding. I'm
exactly what
legit not even kidding. They make their money on the cash back that they get from like the extensions, right? When they order,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
cash back. That's all the money. Like they break even barely on each product. And I'm just like,
Wow.
oh my god, like, are you serious? And then like you like, I don't know. And then yeah, anyways, I don't want to like go too much into it, but like yeah, like it's just fucked, like the whole situation. And like that's why I'm even doing like limited like mentoring or whatever. And like some people like told me like, oh yeah, you should like start promoting it more and like like start running ads and all this other shit. And I'm just like, and I get hit up
Yeah.
all
Fuck
the
that.
time. I get hit up all the time by like people who are like, yeah, like I can close people for you. Like I get like every day I get like people who are like, yeah, like I like we close like mentorships for like ecom coaches. And I'm like, like oh my
Yeah.
god.
I don't think you want to be known as an ecom coach at this
I'm
point.
like, that just sounds
Like
bad.
fucking.
That just sounds so bad. Like, no offense, but if it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, I'm an ecom guru coach. I'm just like, okay, so what you're saying is you don't know how to make money, but but you make money selling people how to make money,
Yeah.
right? It's like,
You have a lot of points on your credit card too.
yeah, you have a lot of travel points. Yeah, like that's about
A
it.
lot of travel points.
Yeah, but like, Yeah, but I mean, but it's also like I'm in this dilemma also. Like I don't know if you can help me like answer this question, but like it's like where's that balance between like I want to help people, but like I also don't want to become an ecom coach. It's like you know, it's like I do want to invest like my time, but like it has to be worth my ROI and time because I actually run a business, right?
Yeah,
Right. And it's like I have like
I think
goals,
like
you know.
I think net and net, it's like I don't think it's even fucking worth. Like if I was in your position, I would never do fucking court. I would never do mentorship.
Dude, I
You
was
know what I'm
that way
saying?
for years, man.
Like it's so
I
much.
was, I was that way for legit like years, and then I legit had like,
What made you like? What made that click? And you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
well, like at first it was just like give it a try or whatever. Like first I was like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm gonna just take on like a few people, right? I'm gonna take on like 3 people, right, and just see how it goes. It was like you, Neve, and
right.
one of the people who convinced me, like Shar, actually, yeah, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, like, and I it was unclear.
I actually didn't reach out to you until you were like 4 out of 5 spots left, and then
Yeah.
Keegan, and I talked to Unive, and I talked to somebody else, and they're like, yeah, join. And I was like, okay, fuck it.
That's funny.
I
Yeah,
was like, well, I already I know the guy. I know he's rich, and I know he's not like some scam. So I was like, oh fuck it, I'll learn.
okay. Yeah, and like, yeah, you wanted to hear a story about like I didn't even know that you were in that bad of a financial position when you did it, you know, because I
Yeah,
remember you telling me like when we were at that Airbnb, like, oh yeah, like I did like, I was making like 6 figure income on my sales job. Oh, like, oh, okay, so this guy probably has like 50K in the bank or something, and like,
yeah.
yeah, whatever, and like he's
My
gonna have all this capital, he's gonna like absolutely crush it as soon as he gets in there, you know, and like, yeah,
right,
like I legit made it like, dude, I legit made like 1.5K, and I was like. They like honestly like I made it just so that people would take it like somewhat seriously, you know,
yeah,
because like
yeah.
I've charged people more than that for an hour of my time, like
Fuck, like
you know,
I mean, like in a couple months, I'll probably pay you like a lot more than that for your time. Like, because I already like know what issues I'm gonna have down the road. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah,
But like,
like
yeah, like the mentorship is like it's so valuable.
yeah, like I've done consulting calls. I've literally had people DM me. And it's like, oh, how much if we hopped on a call, like whatever, like how much would that be, whatever for like 30 minutes of your time or an hour or whatever, and I just ask you questions about whatever, anything or about my
Right.
business or whatever. I'm like, well, yeah. And then it's like, oh, how much for like 30 minutes? I'm like, 1,000. Yeah. It's like, whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I legit don't care. If they say whatever, I'm like, if they say yes or no, I'm like, whatever. You know, like
Yeah.
it's legit. Like it's legit. Like nothing. It's like, and honestly, it's just for me to just like help out more than anything, right? Like that's
Yeah.
honestly been the biggest thing with this whole like mentorship. Is just like, okay, I just want to, yeah, I just want to like see like a few people I do well, right? And just like whatever. Um, and like
Yeah.
honestly, like if
I
you
mean,
become like a seven figure, like if you become a millionaire, and Yaniv becomes a millionaire, and like and whoever else becomes a millionaire, like that would be worth to me than all the money than like that I like make. Honestly, it's like, yeah,
right.
you know.
So to answer your question, like, so you do get enjoyment out of this,
Yes,
right?
of course. I get more enjoyment
I
out of it than like monetary aspect, I guess. Yeah.
I think you just need to be more selective in like who you bring on because it seems like a lot of people just like don't want to take the action and just gotta like screen like same way you screen the VAs out. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like just look for people who like have that trait and not just like
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people
you
talk
know
a
what I'm
good
saying?
game. A lot of people talk a good game, though, man. I mean, and like
A lot
some
of
of the
people do
guys,
talk good game.
and some of them are in like CCFL and shit. And I'm like, oh, like they probably already had that mindset. Just like I always think like, oh, they're gonna be like you need YB. I'm like, yeah, like they're gonna crush it as soon as they get in. Like
I don't know, like
uh,
if I knew like what that trait is, like I'd be a lot more select. I would have like 5 more VAs on my staff right now if I knew like if I could read people because I asked Mike this like how do you fucking like read people, right? And like pretty much like the entire last month and like entire December I because I got fucked over with the VA, but like before that, I was like hiring VAs, and I was like, what the fuck? Because I was having trouble training my VAs. I don't know what the fuck to do, and that was like one of the traits that I was looking for is like what makes a good like how do I manage people, like how do I read people, like getting a good read out of people. And one thing that really helped me was uh there's this guy I forgot like he's in charge of value team and he interviews a lot of these mob bosses like reading people, and like they go a lot into like reading people,
Yeah,
like the mafia.
yeah, no, I think that'd be helpful. Yeah, like I recently finished fuck, what's that book? That Curtis Jackson, Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter book.
Oh, I just read that. I just finished that book too by 50
Yeah,
Cent.
that was really good, honestly. Like,
Yeah, surprisingly, like that
yeah,
was a really good book.
yeah, like the audiobook was really good, too. Yeah, like I even like started listening to like the audiobook, and then I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, it was like one of the only times I actually like listened to it at like normal speed. 'Cause I usually listen to
Yeah.
everything at least like 2.8 or like 3.5 usually. Like if I really like it, I usually listen to it at like 2.8. But I think this was the only time like I ever slowed it down to like 1x, and I actually like went at 1x, and I was just like, wow, like this is like really good information. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, uh, and like I resonated so much with like a lot of the shit he said. Like, and one of the things was like, yeah, being like an astute judge of character, or like other
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
around you.
That chapter. Exactly. Yeah.
Like that's one of the like the most like defining traits of like those who are successful, like the people around you, like judging those who are around you. Um, yeah, I mean like, and that, of course like that can apply to like the people who work for you, but also like business partner. Like you're gonna have business partners probably in the future, like as you get to a higher level, and
Right.
like and like um, a lot of times business partnerships don't work out if you can't read your partner correctly, right?
Mhm.
Um, and it's not even just with business partners, but of course like friendships and like of course intimate partners as well. Like I don't know how you are with like dating and all that shit right now, but um, like even like some random girl that you spend like an hour with, like even if you have like whatever, like no intentions of it, whatever, becoming something more or whatever, like their mindset is gonna rub off on you. Like
Oh yeah, 100%.
like
Like what I found
no
is like, yeah, go on.
no
What
no,
I
you go.
dude, what I found is like, dude, like girls will fucking sap like every bit of motivation on you. Like I've been on, dude, I've been like on December, I went on like two, like 3 dates. I went on 3 dates, and then the week before or the month before, I went on three as well. And like every time, it's like I wake up and it's just a complete reset, and I have to build that motivation again. That's why, dude, this entire month for January, or yeah, for January, I didn't go on a single fucking date. I turned my fucking phone off and like I worked through it. It's probably my most productive. I broke like every milestone, right? I went from like from the 10K to 20K just from like that one thing that I changed. It saps all the motivation out of you. Like I don't know what it is about what what about it. It's just like it's something about going on dates. It just fucks you up,
it,
like
it,
motivation wise.
like I always found like that as well. Like dating girls, like especially if you're like single, right? And you have to like text these
Yeah,
girls, you're spending mental energy playing the game, right? And all that
yeah,
shit. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah,
yeah.
like you're spending so much mental energy, and especially if you end up like, you know, um, end up like even like maybe even liking a girl or whatever, like that's even worse. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like
That's worse.
it's way worse because then you're spending even more mental energy when you're not hanging out with them, right? And that alone can fuck up like everything, like for like
Yeah,
forever how long that lasts, right? And then you're kind of fucked, like I'm not, like I'm not gonna lie, like you know, um, yeah, even in like this past like month, even I've gotten distracted, right, with
yeah.
like girls and like fucking dating and all this shit. And I just realized, like,
Mhm.
damn, like none of this shit is important. Like, dude, like,
Yeah, it really isn't. Like,
like,
like
like
you get some
it's
pussy, and then it's like, fuck. You wake up like you're like, well, wait, I have to work.
yeah,
I don't want to work.
yep,
Lose sight of the bigger vision.
yeah. You can't lose
Like,
sight of the bigger picture, man. Like anything, like whether it's girls or friends around you. Like I don't know who you surround yourself with right now, but if there's anyone who like even if they're like chill guys or whatever, right? Like if they're not like this sounds whatever, but like if they're not like doing shit with their life and trying to become fucking better at least, like get them the fuck away from
mhm.
you, right? Because you're gonna talk about like, oh dude, I just made like 20K this month, man. Like, and they're gonna be like, oh, you know, like, and if they're not doing at least like those numbers as well, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's cool, whatever, and like they might even be like, oh, that's really cool, but like, but it's like, okay, like, there's nothing really to talk about, right?
Yeah.
You know,
No,
it's
that's so
like,
true. It's
it, it's like there's like no like what's the word? There's like no value exchange. It's like, and there's no like excitement because they're not doing the same thing. It's like,
yeah.
right? Um,
Yeah, like
yeah,
the reason like why me and Yaniv got became like really good friends is like because we always had this like exchange of dialogue because like we're literally at the same phases that like our businesses are literally at the same phases as each other. And like we're like bouncing each other, we're bouncing ideas off of each other. That's and like I've helped him with like some things and then he helped me with some things. And like it's literally just like this exchange. Like I didn't know him until literally like when I started this course,
mhm.
right? And then now I talk to him like almost every day.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. I mean, we're getting on the call. But yeah, I want to thank you again for hopping on, man.
Yeah,
This is awesome. But yeah, man.
thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Continue
yeah.
to keep crushing it, man. And we'll talk soon.